You could say that he was the first Ethiopian monarch who devoted a lot of his time and also the resources Ethiopia had at that time to modernizing the country. And education was his favorite subject, and in the 50s, for many years, he was the Minister of Education himself. That portfolio was not given to anybody else. And I think our relationship with India starts because the Indian teachers had the two components that were needed at that time. On the one hand, they had a good English education, and many of them, not all, but many of them had also the plus point that they were Christian Orthodox teachers. So in the 50s, and perhaps even in the 40s, these Indian teachers started to come in a very big way in Ethiopia. Since we had the same faith, and both the Ethiopian and the Indian Orthodox churches have the same confession. So I'm sure that when the emperor decided to open a theological college, he said, we cannot bring in Jesuits, or we cannot bring in people from England who are Methodists or who are the Church of England. Why don't we take our brothers in Christ who have the same kind of religion as we do? And apart from that, the emperor was always eager not to take people from one of the European countries because he knew that somehow he might offend the others. So this was a wonderful way out for him to bring people in from India.
I came in 2003, and then I came here as a teacher of theology. It was just immediately after securing my doctorate in theology. That is actually very interesting that I defended my thesis on 30th of October 2003. I joined the faculty on 6th of November 2003, just after a week. Here I would say that here we have noticed a kind of serious respect towards the Indian teachers, because many of these dignitaries and many of the people whom are of age group between 50 to 75 are built up by, educationally built up by the Indian teachers, because too many Indian teachers were working here in Ethiopia. So naturally, we are not seen, the Indian community here in Addis Ababa is not seen by the Ethiopians generally as business people, but as educators and teachers. So of course it is different from the other African countries and the Indian community in the other African countries. Mr. Thompson, a British man, was appointed by the emperor to find out efficient teachers from India, especially from Kerala, to bring them to Ethiopia and to teach there, to be appointed in the schools here in Ethiopia. So I think it started in 1940s. After the Italian invasion and all, an emperor came back and then he was enthroned again. Then I think he focused seriously on education after that. After coming back from the exile, emperor was much serious in providing education to the Ethiopian society. And that could be the reason. You know, during that time, the British people and the imperial government of Ethiopia became very close. British government, the imperial system became very close, and the British people supported the emperor in defeating the Italians, Mussolini's regime. So that could be one of the reasons that British are assigned to identify teachers. And then it could be one of the other reasons is that it could be the British who suggested the Keralite people to teach, because they were well aware of the Indian societies and Indian states. And Kerala, of course, was very much advanced in education comparing to the other states of India. Even now, Kerala has the highest literacy rate of more than 98%. That is something which is still a dream for many of the Indian states. So Kerala has made serious contribution in education development and social advancement in the whole of Indian society. So emperor might have understood, or emperor might have thought that the Keralite community is something very similar to the Ethiopian community. That means the Keralite social situations, he might have seen it something similar to the Ethiopian social situations comparing to the European and Western countries. So he might have thought that a Keralite model of education system could be something which is more viable in Ethiopia than a European or American model of education system. That could be one of the reasons he decided to bring teachers from India, especially from Kerala, to enhance the educational system of schooling system here in Ethiopia. Mainly the Syrian Christians of Kerala used to see the Emperor Haile Selassie as a very great personality, because he was the one and only Orthodox emperor in power during that time. So that could be one reason, a religious aspect of that. And second could be the financial attraction, and they were very well paid during the time of emperor. That could be another reason for that. They could make a lot more money than they could make as school teachers in Kerala, being in Kerala or in the other parts of India. As I understand from his own autobiography, Metropolitan Paulus Gregorius, formerly Paul Varghese, came here in Ethiopia in late 1940s or early 1950s as a school teacher here in Ethiopia, and he worked in Jimma and in Nazareth, and then Emperor has identified his skill of handling Amharic language, and then Emperor Haile Selassie called him to Addis Ababa and appointed him as a senior Amharic teacher in Tafari Makonnen School, which was a private school owned by His Majesty the Emperor himself. And then after that he went to the United States for higher studies, and then he completed, as I understand, he completed 2 degrees, and then one from Princeton, one from Goshen College, and he came back to India and decided to work for the church, because his interest was to become a monk priest and to continue to serve the church, I think. So in 1956, Emperor visited India, and the Emperor insisted Paul Varghese to come and join his private secretariat, and then Gregorius agreed to come to Ethiopia, and then he came here. And then, as I understand, he worked in the private secretariat of His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie for 3 years, nearly 3 years, more than 2 years, nearly 3 years. During that time, of course, I believe that he influenced the emperor to establish a theological faculty, because the church has to be equipped to face the challenges of modernity when modernity is coming to Ethiopia. Because emperor decided to establish a university, that is Haile Selassie First University, and present it is called Addis Ababa University. Then when the university is established, definitely this whole social system, at least in the urban areas, would be changed. And then in order to equip the church was in need of establishing a theological faculty. And I believe, very strongly believe, that Paul Gregorius and his interest behind was there in establishing this faculty. One thing.
At that time, we were just married and trying to get a permanent job and teaching some places. And then one day, actually we didn't see that advertisement. My husband's friend saw it. There's an advertisement saying that the Ethiopian recruitment team is coming to our place, and they will be in such and such hotel, and there will be a 3-day interview. So you can send application. We will be called for the interview. And I think he told us we both sent an application for that. And actually the third day, until the third day of the interview, we haven't got the application, the interview letter. His friend got it. And then he told us, you just go there, maybe you missed the letter. You just go there and talk to the people, they can find your application. So in the afternoon, we went to the hotel. It was a little bit far away from our place. By the time we got there, it was already almost over. It was nearly 3:30, 4 o'clock, they will wind up, they will move to another city of India. So we went there. My husband talked to one of the interviewers, and they could find easily our application. They said, oh, I don't know why you didn't get the interview letter. We already sent a letter for you. So he was calling first for the interview. And then the friend told us, if you are selected, they will tell you to wait there to sign a contract. If you are not selected, they will tell you, okay, you can go home, we will let you know. So we know whether we will be selected or not. So by the time he came out, I could see a smile in his face, and he was, somebody was asking, he said like, yes, he got it. So then I was really in trouble. If I am not selected, I won't be going with you. I have to stay here. Anyway, I got in, I was also interviewed, and I also got selected. The same day we waited there, all these selected people, we signed a contract. By the time we got Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, we had some formalities. So we had to stay there, and it was very difficult for us to for the food, the smell and food. And later on, we like the Ethiopian food very much. We are very fond of injera, but in the beginning we cannot. So we found some Indian families there. 1 or 2 times they invited us to have food and everything. But though it was a new place, we had no difficulties. But the Ethiopian people were very helpful. They help you in every way. For example, if you go to places, you want to make a queue there, they won't let us stay in the queue. They will come to the front, and we can, they just consider us as something. Especially as teachers, they gave us much, respect and love, and they are very good house. Ethiopian people are very good house. They welcome people, very welcoming people. So we don't have any problem. They are not cheating. There is no cheating. Honest people, sincere, honest.
Since 2000 of the Gregorian calendar, there are lots of universities are opening all over Ethiopia. Since the year 2000, we have almost now these days around 43 newly opened university, the first generation like Hawassa University, Jimma University, Addis Ababa University, and then later on there were lots of universities are now opening. So there is always lots of universities are opened, and then a boom of universities have been recognized. University, it's a long history now recruiting Indian staff. Currently we have around 60 staff, teaching staff members we recruited from India. And then among these 60 teaching staff, around 42 staff members are working in the Institute of Technology of Hawassa University. So when you just see the capacity carrying of the Institute of Technology students, we have this 70% of students are enrolled in technology college, and the rest are 30 are for social science and law and governance. And then for this matter, we don't have such enough instructors in the Institute of Technology. So still we need lots of staff members, and the staff members are also composed. Most of the staff members who are teaching in the technology institutes are from the undergraduate level. So this college needs a high amount of Indian instructors. Under the College of Social Science and Humanity, we have a great demand for Indian staff in the journalism and mass communication department, and then also for sociology, which we launched in the year 2017. And also we need Indian experts to teach in psychology. So when we see the recruitment process, usually the demand comes from the university before they go to India to make an interviews, and the demand comes from academic program directorate of Hawassa University to the college. The college is disseminating the demand from each department and schools. The academic program directorate, based on our demand, just compiled and then send us back the CVs of all those whom we are in need of. I remember we had like 20 CVs, 10 for sociology and 10 for psychology. We were in need of psychology, especially in the counseling psychology and clinical, which we can't find graduates from Ethiopia. Even if we have even if the Addis Ababa University launched this counseling department, but we have a really great shortage of having instructors. So based on the criteria, we just look at the CV from academic program directorate, based on the professional requirement of those applicants, and also year of experience, and also their involvement, especially in research, what they just wrote, how many articles they produced, why they were in their country. And all these things are very important for us when we were screening their CV. So 2 Indians, based on the requirement we set, and also 2 for social psychology also. One was Dr. Mohit. We looked at all what he wrote on the CV, and then returned back the screened persons. Then they just took those names and then went to India and then made an interview at Global Placement. And then when they just come also, we got a good lecturer also.
I was sitting one day at my house and I was consulting one of my company, affiliate, it's a kind of affiliate company. Then they said there is a lot to do in Africa. So I thought, a lot to do in Africa, can you please explain to my friend? I think probably he worked in past in Africa, in Ethiopia primarily. So he's saying, if you have knowledge, if you would like to share your knowledge, you would like to contribute to community services, and you would like to share whatever you have learned, and yourself you would like to grow and see Africa, how Africa is evolving, why not? So I thought, and then I applied. So I landed in Ethiopia. The company which is primarily responsible for recruiting me as a kind of a mid-agent, he has shared 2-3 numbers of Indian expatriates who worked in Hawassa in the past. So I have spoken to them 3-4 times to know basic know-how, what about how the city is, what are the infrastructural facilities, and what kind of teaching environment is there, how Indians are, climate, food conditions. There is again huge difference in the population of Indians who are joining Ethiopia. They are young dudes from 25 to 30 years of age, but there are many people who are 55, 60 plus post-retirement who are working in there. So I could see them, many of them with their partner, spouse, so because their kids are settled, well settled in different parts of the world. So they are serving in that capacity, having good time with family, and there are a few young couples also whom I have noticed they are with family, newly married, a couple of my colleagues, and a few of them with kids, because it's a very personal choice, and depending upon the circumstances that you have, and your partner's profession. My focus was very clear, because I was working in Middle East with a very stable Swiss managed hospital on a leadership position in the past. So when I decided that I'm going to be in Ethiopia, I wanted to deliver something, the knowledge that I have learned, whether in form of research, clinical expertise, or academia that I could share with students. So that gives me the feeling of contentment. That is a kind of a preliminary reward, not in a long term. Rewards in long term, they keep on changing, because we are all humans, very much dynamic in nature. And my key role functions primarily focusing on taking classes for undergraduate students, master students, guiding them for research, primarily these kind of jobs. Secondarily, I have also contributed in different ways in academia, like launching the journal for the respective department, then creating a course curricula depending upon the need of the industrialization, because there is a lot of industrialization which is happening in Hawassa. So the end result, people who are going to be working in industry, it's very important that they also have different kind of jobs for them. So we have worked in close capacity with my other teammates who are from Ethiopia, and they have worked in the same capacity in the past, I believe. So with the help of my colleagues, I have contributed a lot in designing the course curriculum, and then we have contributed a lot in research also, in publishing research. We got a project to create a kind of a laboratory also in the field where I specialized in. So with the existing team members and people who are working in Hawassa University, we have worked hard, and we have given a preliminary shape to this project also. So I believe in totality, not directly focusing on academia only, where lectures are involved, you go, you're completing your credit number of hours, but guiding students from research point of view, creating new opportunities. I have also initiated through my department different memorandum of understandings with the and industrial based units, where our students going to be having internships, research, and share their expertise with other staff members. So I have acted as a key person in that particular domain also. So I'm very motivated and I felt very comfortable when you start any work for a project. It's a pre-opening stage, or when you see things coming in, people are being benefited, it's a different kind of contentment. So that happiness is a kind of internal happiness. I was involved with an American company. I have served healthcare resort as head of the department in India. Then I was associated with a GCI accredited hospital in Middle East, UAE, where I was on a leadership position. So that was one of the best time of my life. I was in late 20s, sorry, not in early 20s, I was in late 20s, and my family was there. So we have had a great time, and I have nearly 14-15 countries I have explored till now, and I have consulted or I have learned different modalities from different countries. So this is the 17th one. So great exposure, I think, from the point of view of working, because you got to work with the people from all over the world, And when you are in a leadership position, as I believe in participative leadership model, so it's also kind of conditioning. You know, the end result is shaping you how to behave, whatever level that you're working on. So I think I'm very fortunate that I've worked with 8-10 different nationalities, especially in Middle East, and I have learned a lot from them, the kind of the principle, the kind of the SOPs, and I would love to share those in times to come, if given a chance, in Ethiopia also. That is the focus that I came in with. So it's a great thing. I think I have had a great time. People who are contributing to the system, they are required. Ultimately, this is the base of the country, youth. This is my personal experience. Any word which is coming out of my mouth, it needs to be calculated. I'm delivering in the system to this youth. Youth is future nation. So quality education is very important. Quality teachers, quality people. So I say God bless Indian expatriates and Ethiopia on this.
Thank you.